Part 9, Practical Fire Door Inspection and Repair. 185. Practical Fire Door Inspection. 186. Fire door repair and maintenance. Fire door repair and maintenance is first and foremost about achieving and maintaining compliant fire doors. 187. Meaning of compliant fire doors? Compliance is considered as being in accordance with established guidelines or specifications, or the process of becoming so. In terms of fire door compliance, there is a need to establish what is required to be compliant with Building Regulations and Approved Document B, ADB. In reality, a large number of existing buildings will find it difficult to meet building regulatory standards. Essentially, the requirement is for all occupied buildings to meet legal requirements and for duty holders to be compliant with the fire safety order. This requires fire compartmentation to be suitable and sufficient to protect relevant persons in the event of fire. By inference, it allows fire compartmentation and the fire doors to be risk managed. 188. How compliant do fire doors need to be? It needs to be determined by those responsible for the building what is suitable and sufficient, and this will be dependent on a number of factors including size and complexity of the building, number of people occupying the building, use and dependency, whether or not the building contains sleeping accommodation, the building fire safety strategy and its safety case, activities taking place in the building, fire load, low or high, the fire evacuation strategy of the building. 189. Building fire safety strategy plans. To remove ambiguity over the location and standard of fire doors, installed fire safety strategy plans of a building should detail fire compartmentation and standards and the designated or intended rating of the fire doors. 190. Assessing individual fire door criticality. Assessing criticality, location and usage of individual fire doors should be assessed to enable judgments to be made in terms of whether they are suitable and sufficient. Fire doors can be critical within relatively low-risk buildings and have low-risk doors in buildings assessed as high-risk. 191. Remediate or replace? Determining when to remediate and when to replace fire doors is not a clear-cut issue. Most people, but not everyone, would agree that the leaf on the right could and should be remediated. Most people would agree that the one on the left should be replaced, so that's pretty much black and white, but where is the cutoff between the two in terms of what you replace and what you remediate? To a great extent it depends on the criticality, location, usage and rating of the door. It could equally depend on the type, size and complexity of the building and the evacuation strategy. 192. Remediation limitations. Until 1991, Crown property including NHS premises had Crown immunity in terms of fire safety. Basically it didn't have to comply with all fire safety regulations, and the legacy from then is that there are still thousands of fire doors that were never fit for purpose by today's standards. The limitations of remediating existing doors without previous certification or known fire performance needs to be fully understood. It calls for careful consideration as to what is acceptable and even economically viable to remediate doors. For example, doors manufactured with rebates prior to the introduction of intumescent seals. Those intending to repair doors should also be conscious that prior to 1980, asbestos was widely used in fire door manufacture. 193. Do not repair. Some fire doors should be replaced and not repaired. The classification of doors following inspection is major risks identified, A, or minor as, I, with any observation notes, O, provided. Don't assume everyone knows what the A stands for. 194. Approved repair techniques. Repairs on fire doors need to be undertaken using industry-recognized approved repair techniques, complete with a golden thread of information as evidence that they have been competently repaired, when the work was carried out and by whom. Wherever possible, reference should be made to the door's Global Fire Resistance Assessment, GFRA, found with the door specification for any maintenance work to ensure the correct materials are being used for repairs. 195. Fire door protocols. All inspections and repairs undertaken should be consistent and in keeping with a robust set of fire door protocols so that actions are uniform and can be audited. Fire door schedules should identify location, function and standard, and should include inspection details, required actions, estimated costs and responsibilities for closeout. Closeout actions should be carefully considered, formalized and agreed by senior managers. Key elements will include how information is to be stored, shared and updated, managed by an overview process/committee for ensuring actions are completed and closed out on the door schedule. 196. Factors to consider. Protocols should take into account a number of factors including how fire doors are to be differently managed in high-risk or low-risk buildings. There could also be a medium-risk buildings. If doors in high-risk buildings are to be individually identified